very strong in first game, especially not as superior in the second game, but still showing they know what it takes to actually win games. So I don't know. I don't think they underperformed. They just met the better team.
All right, and so that means in terms of our brackets, it is going to be Na'Vi versus Tongfu is the first upper bracket game. Of course, if you win upper bracket semi-final, and if you win that, you'll be moving on to the upper bracket final. So not far for these teams to go already. Of course, we're here for 5 days, so we're going to see some more action today as well. And today we're going to be moving on now to the lower bracket games. So first up is going to be Team Dignitas versus Rattlesnake, and it is only going to be a best of one. So this is, if you thought the best of three's got tense, try already saying it's a 1-1 and you've got one more game to play. So it's just one game to decide, and after that we'll be going on to LGD International versus Mouse Sports, which I think will be a very close game. I'm going to give the edge to Mouse Sports on that one, but
oh really?
Yeah, I will.
I got LGD end on this one, definitely. With the experience they've amassed in China, I don't see them losing to Mouse Sports unless Mouse Sport has some cheesy strategy up their sleeve because it is best of one, right? So anything can really happen. But of the two, I think LGDN is the better team.
I think LGDN is the better team, but not by that much. Mouse were pretty strong in the Western qualifiers as well as the Corsair Cup. They actually did some surprising stuff. I was casting some of the games, and they had some unusual stress. Usually it's like, okay, let's get black, really farm an anti-mage or gyrocopter or whatever hero, and then we'll just win. Fata should probably win his lane, give him a puck or something like that, and Quickfoot will farm as Nature's Prophet. That's usually what we know as Mouse, but they had some pocket strats that I was surprised to see.
They've sort of fallen off their game since Na'Vi broke their back in Valencia, where they lost 0-3, and we saw them in the group stage. They only won a total of 4 games out of 14. Maybe they're a bit too predictable in their play, and if there's a team that's not predictable in their play, it's LGD End. So it's very hard for Mouse Sports to actually prepare for them, whereas LGD End might know what's coming. I mean, it's not too hard to predict that if they give Fata this and this hero, and if they give Black this and this hero, they should watch out. So maybe
LGD 2-0 Tongfu, which is one of the stronger teams. I don't think that Mouse Sports had any significantly good victories. 2 wins from MUFC, and then I believe they had 4 total wins in Group A. So they didn't have any convincing victories at all. And LGD only had 5 wins, but 2 of them were versus Tongfu, who we just saw had an extremely strong performance.
All right, and we'll get some information on those teams in a moment from Bruno, but as we mentioned, this is the lower bracket. So Team Dignitas versus Rattlesnake. Up next, best of one. Winner will have to play Orange later, and I think that's also a best of one. If Bruno, if you can confirm that, round 2 in the lower bracket is best of one.
Yes.
Yes, it is. Okay, so still you're not out of the heat in the lower bracket yet in terms of getting to those best of 3s and also moving further on to the tournament. And then LGD International versus Mouse Sports. But going back to LGD International versus Mouse Sports, Bruno, what kind of information have you got on either of the teams to kind of...
Well, Mouse Sports has not been performing very well. They won 2 games versus MUFC, as did everyone else in their group. They did get 1 game out of LGD China, and that is, I think, their biggest highlight of the group stage so far. And the other game was against Zenith, which is a team that pretty much traded 1-1 most of their games. They kind of sometimes go and play serious, sometimes go and play goofy, not because they're not trying, just it's kind of their play style. They're very high risk, high reward kind of team. While on the other hand, we have LGD International, which was pretty much all over the place. They won versus Virtus Pro. They won versus Tongfu, which is what we were talking about, 2-0. And they got 1 game from IG. That's kind of the highlight there. Now, I think the storyline is not exactly on that, but rather on these 2 teams are kind of hesitant. They're going to the losers bracket. Both were expecting to get up there in the upper bracket. Lots of questions for them. The one that has the best security on themselves, the trust in themselves, will be able to pull through.
All right, so yeah, we'll get to those games in just a moment, but we are going to go back to Casey. And Casey, I just want to, I'm impressed with your internet knowledge, but your next quest is to find Eternal Envy and ask what a furry is. Okay, but over to Casey.
Okay, James, can you repeat your question? Because it sounded like a really good one, and I unfortunately missed it. Things are crazy up here.
You just have to find a professional player called Eternal Envy.
Internal Envy,
and ask him about his girlfriend, who's called Furry.
Uh-oh. If I do that, will I be punched in the face? Is that some sort of inside?
You can't.
I cannot tell you.
Damn it, James! I've only known you a day, and you're already getting me in fights.
Kappa.
Well, okay. I'm gonna try to avoid the fights. I'm gonna ask my lovely photographer Mike to spin around if he can and show the German flag. I don't think he knows he's on camera, so let me just, excuse me a second. Excuse me, sir. Hi. Do you mind turning around? What's your name?
My name's Andrew.
Andrew, I noticed that you are coming out in full German spirit.
It's for sure for Mouse.
Yeah?
Yep.
So how has it been for you so far today?
It's been pretty good. This is my first international. I didn't go last year, so it's pretty exciting to be out here.
Did you watch last year's on the stream? Is that what made you want to come down?
I watched everything at home on my computer.
So who are you most excited? Obviously Mouse, but any other teams that you're really excited to see?
Fully behind Mouse. I mean, you can see I got my German flag out.
He's not going to cheat on Mouse.
Never.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
All right, thank you. I see you got the autograph. This is really awkward. Do you want me to help you out? I can go.
No, it's fine. I know it's USA here.
Duh. Thank you for chatting with us. And in line, you might see a familiar face. We have Puppy there. Puppy and I go way back to like a whole 2 hours ago. How you doing?
Nice.
Just nice. Come on now.
Awesome!
I was told by some people on Twitter to beware of you. Any idea why?
Oh, why? What am I doing wrong?
Nothing yet. I'm just,
So? What's wrong?
Nothing is wrong. Nothing is wrong. Let me ask you this. What are you thinking about now? Are you already thinking ahead to Friday, or are you guys going to take a nice break, nice breather?
Thinking of mushrooms.
And there you have it. Another hard-hitting interview with Puppy. Thank you, Puppy. You and I are still friends, but you're on thin ice. Let's go back this way and talk to more of the fans in line. Ugh, boy, I love these cables. I'm really glad, by the way, that I wore these shoes and my lucky cat socks. Isn't that sexy? No, it's not sexy at all. Hi, guys. How you doing? You excited?
Yeah. Really excited.
Who are you really hoping to get an autograph from today?
Cyborg Matt, he's my idol.
Why is that?
Because we both speak for the trees.
Nice.
Yeah.
What about Puppy?
Puppy's a good guy. I like Puppy. Puppy's cool.
It's okay. You can tell me what you really think later once we're further back. It's all right. I got you. How you guys doing? Good? How about you? Good. Yeah? What are you holding here? Let's see.
Crystal Maiden and Warlock. I play support, so I'm really looking forward to getting it signed by Puppy.
Oh, that's great. Just be careful with him. He can get a little nasty. Yeah, that's all right. It's part of his charm. And you can kind of see, I don't want to move people too much, but a lot of the conceptual art that's back here, it's really neat to see kind of the characters. Here's an example over here. Excuse me, I'm so sorry. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to shove you. Get out! You can kind of see where the character ended up versus where it started. They have a lot of different concepts, and it's kind of neat to walk along the walls up here and really see the beginning to the end and see how many different incarnations they went through. So to be able to go behind the scenes of the thought process is really kind of neat, and also just to chat with so many fellow fans and people who are so excited to be here. So it's really the energy still. How many hours are we into it now, and people are still super excited to be here. And if you look out, this is another view I'd like to show you. This is from the promenade. That's so fancy, promenade. Looking down over the lobby, and all the flags are up there, and then you can see the broadcast booth all the way down there, sort of. So I'm going to send it back to you, James. I can't see you, but I am sure that you are doing just fine, my friend.
Thank you, Casey. So, yeah, nice. I'm not sure if Puppy's following Casey around or Casey's following Puppy around, but if Puppy's getting a lot of camera time, we're going to need to get some more pro gamers out here on the floor, but I'm sure Casey will be on it as the tournament, as we have stated, is going to go on for another 4 days after today. So, I do believe, actually, we got some info, Bruno, that we can bring up on Tongfu. I think it's their heroes. Yeah. And this will obviously be a nice telltale sign, because they're going up against Na'Vi in the upper bracket. It won't be for a little while, but Tongfu's picks, this is, what do you make of it all?
Well, these were the picks they had the last game. I think it was worthy to just go about what, I mean, we kind of discussed this, but with the heroes in mind right here, the thing that they had going on for them is clearly this is a 4 Protect 1. The only real carry in this team is a gyrocopter.
I mean, Storm Spirit is okay.
Yeah, but it's not a strong right clicker late game. And then you have 2 strong initiators on Bad Rider and Storm Spirit, naturally. And Bane, of course, disrupting the team fights, Visage with the burst damage. A very complete team, a very solid team. I was kind of hoping that Storm Spirit was going to be a flying hero because I would be able to make a joke, but it wasn't, so I couldn't.
Yeah, so they have legs, unfortunately.
That couldn't happen. It was Tongfu, it was perfect. It would have been like the revival of last year.
Well,
didn't
don't
happen.
remind me, please.
Maybe later. But anyways, that's what Tongfu did. They're going with Navi, and as you said before, they're going to fight Navi. they're already guaranteed top 6, and with being top 6, these two teams are already guaranteed $113,000 already.
And you know the funny thing about it is,
what?
They probably don't even know how much they're going to win because they're like, we don't care. It's like, we've come top 6, sure. When's our next game? How are we going to beat them? How are we going to get into the winner bracket finals? So for us, it's like, wow, okay, $100,000. It really does sound amazing, but the teams are really
no, we want more.
It's not even in their heads, and it shouldn't be.
Exactly. But that's all about the compendium as well, and we are 2.845. This was all thanks to the community as well. It started with $1.6 million. Now we've raised that 1.24 million more.
It's remarkable.
That's amazing. The compendium is still running until the end of the tournament, so if anyone wants to increase that, it's more money to the players. They will be happy. But it's a lot already anyway.
I heard James said he'd buy a compendium for each kappa on stream.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, but I won't tell you. I won't tell you which stream.
Aha.
All right, so we're actually going to be going into the next game, and I do believe that we should get the introductions done because the players will soon be ready. And of course, the match at hand is going to be Dignitas versus Rattlesnake. It's going to be a best of 1, but let's meet the team first of Dignitas.
Hi, my name is Peter Nian. I play under the game name Way Too Sexy. I'm the captain of Team Dignitas. And on my spare time, I like to play a lot of Dota, watch K-drama or anime.
My name is Curtis Ling. I play under the handle AUI_2000, and I play the 1 role, which is the hard carry. And I like to hit creeps. I'm good at PvE. I think I'm a hardworking person in terms of playing Dota. And while I like to have fun, I think that professionalism is very important in Dota.
We bootcamped in Vancouver, Canada for a whole month. By far, our bootcamp was not the best out of every team.
Unfortunately, our bootcamp had a lot of internet issues, actually.
The first 2 weeks of bootcamp, we just kind of sat there. We did what we could, you know. It was too laggy to play.
Hello, I'm Yanis Fogg Lucas from Team Dignitas, and this is our house in Vancouver, Canada, where we'll be bootcamping for the International. This is our bootcamp area where all the magic happens. Get all our practicing done and everything. This is where Snaking sits right over here, our mid-solo. This is my area right here, Fogged. We have some other friends on the computers right now. This is Curtis, AUI's area right here. Sahil Universe's area. This is not Sahil. And then we have in the corner our captain, Way Too Sexy's area. Over here is where we've been, you know, making some masterful cooking, all of us. Fridge is pretty fully loaded. It's pretty clean. We do a pretty good job of cleaning everything around here. Good team effort. Here we are in me and Universe's room. We share a very nice bed right here. This is Universe's side. This is all of his belongings and whatnot. I have my side right over there as well. My dirty laundry all over the place, of course. We have Snaking's room, which is a absolute disaster right now, it appears to be. But this is where he sleeps. And then moving in through here is the master bedroom. This is where our captain, Way Too Sexy, sleeps. This is the master bedroom. We give him as much comfort as he needs so he can have his own time, because I know he has a lot of stress on him having to deal with all of us, but it's fine.
We only really got in 1 week of practice.
It could have been a lot better, but at the same time, you know, like I still feel we're confident, we're the underdogs. Everyone thinks we're gonna get 16th, so I'm ready to prove them wrong, you know? Everyone at this level can take a win off of anyone. Like, there are no teams to be underestimated at this year, and it's just gonna keep on getting tougher and harder, you know?
Winning the International, I think everyone would say would be a dream come true for a Dota player. It's not just the money, it's the prestige.
莱姆张志成，宁夏 China Rattlesnake. We have no manager, you guys know. They come to Seattle only five teammates. 我们的生活就是等于说是2点一线，就是训练、生活、训练、生活、训练、生活。小罗是一个想法非常多变的人，不光是对手、队友可能跟不上，都跟不上他的思路。因为他是一个经常有奇思妙想的人，他喜欢把奇思妙想带进比赛里面，然后我们在他的奇思妙想上稍微改变一些东西，然后融入到我们的战术里面。只要发挥好自己的实力，就是不存在所谓的需要特殊的战术去照顾对手。 such a big Dota 2 party. It's very, very difficult for a new team. But old team, I think old team will be more easy than new team. We will try our best.
Okay, there we have it. There are two introductions for Dignitas and Rattlesnake. I just want to say we're going to go straight to the game in just a moment, but Dignitas are a fantastic story. They weren't able to qualify last year, even though they were a team that people thought worthy of being at the 2012 International, but they're here for 2013. If they win some money, hopefully they get a better apartment and a cleaner. And of course, Rattlesnake as well did qualify here through the qualifications. So they have one game, one shot. If they lose this, their tournament could be over. And with that being said, we're going to throw it over to the hall for Dignitas versus Rattlesnake, and best of luck to both teams.
Team Dignitas versus Rattlesnake.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to our first elimination match of the International 3. I'm LD. I'm joined here by Luminous. It's time for Rattlesnake versus Dignitas.
Woo! And of course, the USA chant begins.
The hometown crowd out in force, but Rattlesnake, they fought their way through the wildcard match. They had the toughest road here of anyone. Didn't have the best group stage, but that doesn't matter, Lumi. It's all about these elimination matches. Can't worry about the past. Dignitas had their shot at the upper bracket, but here they are, and they got themselves a first pick Wisp. The first Wisp pick of the main event.
Now, of course, as the heroes call EO, IO, or 10, but we'll call it Wisp because near and dear in our hearts, it's really just a Wisp. Now, for those of you guys that are really not familiar with this particular hero, he is, for lack of a better word, broken. He does things to this game, just changes it. You don't play standard Dota 2 anymore. It is just this weird cross of Dota and some other stuff.
Yeah, it's like when you enter the Matrix, you know, things just get a little bit weird. They give away the Wisp, but with that being said, they knew they were doing it. They've played against Wisp before. Rattlesnake did the same thing to Quantic. They lost one game, they won the other, so they have shown they're capable of taking down Wisp, at least in some scenarios. And with that being said, they also picked up a CK, so they take away the CK-Wisp combo from Dignitas.
Yeah, a lot of players think that, hey, they're taking a CK to deny the Wisp-CK combo, which is, you know, kind of the most broken combo in Dota 2, but really Rattlesnake would just like to run CK on their own. A couple years ago, back in the China metagame, if you call it that, CK used to be a very popular hero just on its own without even the help of Wisp. And Rattlesnake's one of those teams that is bringing it back just by itself. They always love to run it with the Keeper of Light, and during the laning stage, they are very powerful as a dual combo. A ton of stun damage, a ton of nuke damage. Chaos Knight's usual weakness is because he lacks mana, and Keeper of the Light gives him that.
Yeah, we've seen some teams will even go for that Ancient Apparition combo with the CK.
Yeah.
Rattlesnake's not afraid to do it, but he got banned out. That won't be available to them. So you look at Rattlesnake now, they've got their 3 cores. They've got a very strong mid to late game. They will need a support here. Anything that you've got your eye on?
Team Dignitas love the Jakiro, but they also like to run it with things like Darkseer, Magnus, so we might not particularly see that hero. Well, they have Wisp and Rubik, I mean.
Yeah, you look, so for Rattlesnake here, maybe something like a Lina, a Jakiro.
Oh, you meant Rattlesnake.
Yeah.
Come on, LD. This is not new for us. Let's step it up. For Rattlesnake, they actually run a very wide array of supports. Shadow Demon's one of their go-to heroes. I actually like Jakiro quite a bit here. It's a very, very tanky support, and I think you need that for Timbersaw. Timbersaw is one of those heroes that could just burst you down from 100-0, starting from nowhere. I'm actually very worried for that Weaver. I'm kind of worried for that Keeper of Light, because Timbersaw, right now with the lineup that's very lacking in stun, how do you stop this crazy tree-cutting man from just going through your team?
Yeah, they've got a kind of weird lineup here. You've got Timbersaw, who hates trees. You've got Nature's Prophet, who loves them.
Trees, yeah.
But see, that's the beautiful thing about Dota. You put all of that aside, and then you go and you try to win some games together anyway. So, not the most natural of allies, but here they are. They're probably looking for that third core. They most likely do have their 2 supports, as you were pointing out. And Dignitas, we talk about this team often as a team that loves to and is really good at choosing when to fight. They don't force fights, generally speaking. They'll wait for the opportunities, and then they'll go. When you have Wisp and Prophet, you can be very selective. You can fight whenever you want, or you can fight, or you don't have to fight.
Sure. I mean, Team Dignitas also known for dodging fights when they don't want to. Team Dignitas needs a Wisp partner. So Sven is being banned out. Of course, Chaos Knight being drafted by Rattlesnake. So historically, there is things like Tiny, which, by the way, last year in the International 2, eHome went through a lot of teams in the lower bracket just from the Wisp Tiny. So We'll see what they actually go for. I think Tiny's by far the most popular hero choice, although we have seen in the past that it's not really who you pick with Wisp, it's just the Wisp. So you could pick anything here and it'll be fine.
Yeah, Rattlesnake, second support now, going to come off the board for them. They've got plenty of they'll go for a Naga Siren, which a couple of months back we weren't really seeing her at all. You go farther back than that, and she was always a farmer. But nowadays, teams are happy to run her as a support. They have a lot of physical damage, a lot of minus armor. Dignitas, Ghost Scepters might be on the agenda if this game goes a bit later.
Yeah, the not too much range though, which is something I'm concerned with Rattlesnake. Their laning stage might be a little bit weaker because of that, especially against heroes like Timbersaw who could always get away from you. That can be a concern. But one good thing that you do have against by picking up Naga Sirens, that you have a really reliable way of catching Nature's Prophet. Somewhere down the road, Nature's Prophet, played by Universe, is going to be pushing your towers on the side lanes, your top, your bot, sometimes mid, and sometimes just walk in with Naga Siren.
Here we go!
Can you say TI2? Because in the same game, we have Naga Siren, we have Morphling, and nobody's booing right now for these two heroes yet.
Yeah, nobody's booing the Morphling yet. We'll see how effective it is. But Fnatic has run this combo as well. The Morphling Wisp combo.
It was really
devastating.
Effective. Yeah.
Arrow was on the Morphling, and they did so much work. They even dual laned at mid. Is that something we could expect out of Dignitas?
I definitely think so. I mean, who's Rattlesnake's mid right now? Because Chaos Knight plus Keeper could be it. You could just put Luo on the mid lane, or you could put Icy on the mid lane. But I really don't think any of those combos beat the Wisp Morphling.
All right, guys, let's get inside the game. It's a best of one. Loser goes home. First team knocked out. Winner stays alive on the side of Team Rattlesnake.
We're talking about Rattlesnake here, guys.
We'll start with USA then. We'll start with Team Dignitas, one of the two North American representatives at this event. Snake King going to be handling the Timbersaw. Fog Dota on the EO, the Wisp. Way too sexy, the captain bringing up the rear as the Rubik. AUI 2000 and a rather decked out Morphling. He'll be playing that. And last but not least, Universe, very consistent, very annoying on his Nature's Prophet into the off lane. And then on the dire side, we have Team Rattlesnake, Lamb on the Chaos Knight, Icy the Weaver, Sagem or Neo on the Keeper of the Light, Kabu on that support Naga Siren, and last but not least, Luo on the safe lane Gyrocopter.
Really good movement from Dignitas to start the game. As a Wisp, you want to hit level 6 as soon as possible to get your one of the most broken spell in the game. And by going into this particular position of the map, you make sure that they don't ward off your jungle. So Wisp is going to be doing quite a bit of early game polling. Keep in mind that they also could run the Wisp on the mid lane on the Radiant side, because you could destroy these trees and also pull towards the mid lane. So there's a lot of ways here for our Dignitas players to play this particular Wisp.
Not too many shenanigans early on. Rattlesnake waiting for the bottom rune. They are aggressive tri-laning against a Wisp. If this goes south, it really goes south. It'll be a haste rune for Luo. He'll head up to the top lane. That puts him into a 1v1 against Universe's Prophet. Generally, Gyrocopter is one of those carry heroes that can handle most 1v1s.
Yes, and when LD says when this offensive tri-lane goes south, it goes south really drastically, because Naga Siren and Keeper of Light, they're not really good at ganking. So you can't really rotate a mid lane and start picking off Snake King, for example. So if that bot lane doesn't work out, they're kind of stuck there for a bit of time. So let's see, I guess for Rattlesnake's sake, let's see if they could do well in this bot lane.
Yeah, of course, if you're Dignitas, you've got a very hard to kill dual lane here. Morph lane, very elusive. He's got access to Strength Morph if they ever go on him, as well as the waveform, and the EO for Fog can tether away to safety. For the time being, way too sexy. Off in the jungle, it's something from the, actually, I believe from DreamHack, Louis.
Yeah, this is pretty cute here. What we're going to do is lift this creep, and then it's going to draw the creep wave as that creep walks back.
It looks like he somewhat mistimed it, and he only got the one creep here, though.
Yeah, way too sexy. Love to do kind of these crazy things, but doing it in a stage like this where if you lose, you go home. So, I mean...
That takes some cojones, man.
Yeah.
That is a bold move from him. Of course, it's a nice play because the camp was warded right now, and this is a lot safer. Rattlesnake cannot contest that pull. If that happens, then it goes off, and there's nothing they can do about it except maybe dive the tower.
Yeah, and of course, your two heroes on the bot lane also gets, a little bit more XP than the other side, but they're not really farming that well. AUI, generally one of the very good last hitters in North America, only has 1 CS, and that's definitely a big concern.
Meanwhile, in the middle lane, Snake King already 7-0 against Icy's Weaver. Now, generally, Weaver is a hero that can win or at least hold his own in a lane, but this is actually a pretty tough matchup for him.
Yeah, I mean, what Weaver likes to do is use his Sakuchi and just go right up next to you, do a little bit of damage, and also harass you quite a bit. But Snake King, all he has to do is press Rolling Death as takes damage, and he just deals way more back to Icy. Although so far he's not really doing it back.
Yeah, so for the time being, aggressive tri-lane from Rattlesnake. One of the reasons you love to run aggressive tri-lanes with the Keeper of the Light is that if the enemy team pulls, you can contest the pull. Use Illuminate, steal the creeps, harass the supports, but they're not pulling in a place that can be contested, so to me, this is actually going pretty well for Dignitas thus far.
Yeah, I'm surprised that Rubik has not hit at level 2 just yet, and I'm also wondering when is Way Too Sexy going to stop this pull, or if the Dire tri-lane on the bot lane is going to do anything to stop it. For example, you could send a ganking party to the mid lane and maybe gank off that Rubik as well. We'll see what they do.
There's one lane we haven't really looked at yet, and that's the off-lane Universe, Nature's Prophet, up against the safe lane Gyrocopter. Already 10-2 Luo, he's having a pretty good time in this lane, and he is leveling up the flat cannon first, which I think given the
Universe in big trouble right now. There's boots on Luo, but just nice bit of harassment.
I like this flat cannon build because you're probably not getting in range to use the rocket barrage, which has a very low range, but the flat cannon you can harass him from distance.
Yeah, also because Prophet could also summon Treants, those flat cannon harass is not going to be too reliable. Back in the mid lane,
Kabu looking for a first blood, staking in trouble. No Timber Chain, no easy way out. Dropping fast for the time being. The reactive armor doing the work. He needs one more hit. First blood. Will it go to Icy? It will. Rattlesnake, first one's on the board. They notch a kill to their belts. And Snake King not having that powerful start he was hoping for.
Yeah, Rattlesnake's ganking support are not too impressive, but it seems like the harassment from the mid lane was just barely enough, and they were able to pick it up. The double minus armor coming in from Rit type as well as Swarm was just enough to take away the armor of that Timbersaw.
Yeah, generally Timbersaw, if he's in against a very hard lane, you'll actually see him max the Timber Chain, which makes him much more difficult to kill in that scenario. But in a 1v1, leveling up the nuke early as well as the reactive armor just allows you to trade way more effectively. So it wasn't a 1v1, unfortunately.
Right, we cannot stress on how important that kill is because that puts Icy closer to level 6, which when he gets level 6, he's going to be a lot more difficult to kill. And Snake King is really reserving those Whirling Death, and so far still doing an okay job zoning Icy out.
In spite of the deck, he is 21-1. And you look at your Weaver, only 12-1, not having the best start. We can actually check these support levels. And I'm also very worried about Way Too Sexy like you because he's still level 1.
He's been pulling. Where's the experience been going to?
We're 4 minutes in. He got off a pull here, but he actually stacked the camp. So the creeps have basically been suiciding to it. Of course, the Naga Siren's a bit underleveled, but she's been having her impact simply by ganking.
Yeah, well, how's Universe doing up top? Because generally when Dignitas is having early game trouble, Universe is the man they kind of look forward to, and he TPs in and gets 2 or 3 kills, and suddenly Dignitas is right back. But I think Dignitas is slightly behind right now. Can they make the recovery right now?
They're grouped up as 3 at the bottom lane. Maybe look to make a go on Fogged here. AUI 2000 pretty close to him. Just simple harassment. They are not killing the Wisp, however. All this being said, Fogg's still getting decent levels against the tri-lane. And when you aggressive tri-lane, generally you do want to stop that Wisp from hitting level 6.
And again, for the viewers that don't watch Dota 2 normally, Wisp hitting level 6, according to some North American players, is just GG.
Meanwhile, Universe getting solo killed on the top lane. Luo, early solo kill for a safe lane Gyro. Generally, not the best 1v1 killer, although he's great at harassment, but drops the call down. Universe, unable to TP out in time, does go down.
And now it's really hard for Universe to go back to that lane because phase boot is up on Luo. The burst of movement speed really will allow him to go right next to Prophet. And really, he is going to be in big trouble. But still, he's going to TP back in one lane instead of going back to the jungle.
Early on, Rattlesnake leading 2-0, 5.5 minutes in. Dignitas, they do have some comeback mechanics here. They've got a global lineup. They've got a lot of abilities to fight pickoff in the mid game. But Rattlesnake, a pretty fearsome 5-man. And if you let that 5-man get strong enough and you don't have the split push necessary to hold it back, then you've got to fight against it. And Rattlesnake, I don't think they're a team that Dignitas want to take head on in the early to mid game.
So LD, let me ask you a quick question. Is Dignitas in trouble? If you look at the experience and goal graph, they haven't even got a kill on that bot. Well, yeah, they haven't really got a kill on the bot lane just yet, but they're really leading by experience. They're really leading in terms of gold. That's generally a bad sign for a defensive dual lane.
It's not looking too good. The pull camp's still blocked off. They're not actually getting any pulls. Way Too Sexy just hit level 2, 6 minutes in. I mean, they can come back, but they need a certain level of items to do it. And they need level 6 on Wiz. They ideally want something on the Prophet. And so far, Universe has abandoned the lane. So that means Luo free to farm as much as he like. He can even push the lane if he wants to turn on the Ring of Basilius. Dignitas can still find something for themselves, but giving away free farm to a safe lane Gyro and not contesting him and not getting a good trade is generally not what you want.
Back in the mid lane, Icy perhaps in a little bit of trouble. Sakuchi will get him out of there. We did see Snake King walk to this particular area and place an Observer Ward, but that was under the sight of a Dire Observer. So Rattlesnake would look to deward that very soon, and that's going to limit the ganking potential of Snaking. I really think that Snaking needs to get some burst damage ganks on the bot lane and perhaps set up a couple kills. He's doing a good job of zoning IC out, but he's not really going to kill that Weaver, so I'm not sure how Dignitas is going to mount